Hey, listen, I ain't even gonna sit here and lie to you. If I never saw Caleb Williams again, especially in a playoff setting, I wouldn't be mad. Wouldn't be mad one bit. That game was exactly the reason why, personally, as a Rams fan, I was kind of nervous about. I thought, when we talk about fit, you talk about matchups. I think we are a better matchup for Seattle. Now we'll see that next week, and we'll see how that goes. But I thought we were a better matchup for Seattle than we were the Bears. And the main reason why I was nervous is because of who the Bears were this year. This is not the same old Bears team, right? This Bears team is different. This Bears team is going to be a problem. And to be honest, if I never saw Caleb Williams again, I wouldn't be mad one bit. Athletes Forum Podcast. I'm your host, Jamal Clay. Thank you all for tuning in. Per usual, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Listen, the Rams escaped one here, right? And sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And granted, that was a frustrating win, but the win is a win. We escaped one here because that wasn't supposed to be how things, were supposed to pan out, right? 20-17 win, overtime win versus the Bears. Let's kind of talk about it a little bit. So, as I mentioned pre-show, I was nervous going into this game because the Bears were a team that was like clicking, getting hot at the right moment. You think about the team that they had been this year with 7 comeback wins, right? Caleb Williams might have the strongest arm in the league. Pair that with a evil mastermind like a Ben Johnson and a defense that played as aggressive as they did today was the exact reason why I was nervous about this game. And we almost fell into the trap as Rams fans. We almost fell into, letting them stay close enough, right, where it got a little uncomfortable. Because it did. It did get a little uncomfortable. You talk about how this game played out. First of all, in the first half, 7 carries, 7 rushes in the first half. McVay was giving me a heart attack. In this type of game, cold weather game, you would think running the ball would be the main priority, right? Why did it take until the second half for us to start gaining our rhythm, gaining our momentum to run the ball? Right, 7 carries in the first half, 24 carries in the second half. Right now, ultimately we did crack over 100, but man, this game, definitely could have been a lot easier on ourselves. And even if the run game is not working, sometimes it's not really about the impact, but more about the attempts. Because with a defense as aggressive as the Bears were today, you gotta wear them down. You gotta power, duo, dive. Right? Outside zone, right? You got to make them run. You got to wear them down. Your all lineman got to get to that second level. And that's something that I was definitely, kind of weary about, especially heading into this game, because I felt like McVay really tried to put a lot of this game, on Matthew Stafford when I don't think it necessarily had to be that game. I don't think Matthew Stafford, this was the game Matthew Stafford had to win for us, right? Let me make this bigger, a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. I don't think this is the game Matthew Stafford had to win for us, but this was the game that, kind of McVay coached it, right? He kind of coached it like, he's going to be the reason why we win this game, right? And you think about, just look at the stat line, like, 20 of 42 passing, 258 yards, but it wasn't really that impactful of a day. As you can see, no touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked 4 times. Our O-line was definitely an issue. Defense still made some young, stupid mistakes, all right? Especially, again, fourth quarter, 4th down, and literally Caleb Williams just runs, does a cartwheel, 360 turn a little bit, play spades, playing dominoes, and went to go get a deep dish pizza and literally threw a bomb to Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone, right? Which was, listen, call a push-up, you're not going to get that call in the fourth quarter, right? You're not going to get that offensive pass interference call in the fourth quarter, nor are they going to get the defensive pass interference call, right? So Kobe Durant was already put in the bad spot, but I thought the defense, this was a game where we bend, but we didn't break in this type of game, right? You get 3 interceptions on Caleb Williams, right? No sacks, unfortunately, but we're definitely going to have to tighten some things up. Emmanuel Forbes had a shoulder injury. Hopefully he bounces back, next week, against Seattle. But when you think about matchups in general, I think the Rams are kind of fit to play Seattle, which is why I'm excited about this matchup we have coming up and what this matchup is potentially going to look like for the Rams, right? And credit to the Bears, they're going to be a team to reckon with. It's a young team, a lot of young talent. They're only going to get better, and they were a dangerous team. They're going to be a dangerous team, right? Now I'm kind of thinking, does Matt Stafford have one more run in them? Right? You think about 2 years ago, came over to the Rams. We won the championship last year. Obviously, they work out. Now this year, it seems like things are building for a momentous run for Matthew Stafford. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we're about to go up against a team that we have some history with. A team that is led by the 12 man, by Jackson Smith-Njigba, by a Sam Darnold who's really balling right now, really silenced the critics of him playing in the postseason, him playing in big games, right? Cooper Kupp, right? He would have been in this game regardless if he came back to the Rams or Seattle. But more importantly, a defense that is real. A defense that is real. They're fast. They're physical. They're Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams up front, DJ Reed up front. Who else we got in the backfield? Witherspoon, one of the most aggressive, physical man-to-man cornerbacks in the game, right? In the game. And, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. We're going up against a loud environment, right? We're going up against the 12 man, right? But if there's any team that has had success, right, going up against Seattle, it's been Sean McVay and the Rams. When you think about like the NFC West, all right, which is really the best division in the NFC. I don't care what anyone says. You look at the amount of times we've been to the Super Bowl the past couple of years. When you look at the NFC West, 49ers always beat the Rams for some reason, right? 49ers, Seahawks really go back-to-back. Rams usually do good against the Seahawks and Arizona, right? And then everyone dominates the Cardinals. So it's kind of like a love triangle at the top. Right? So now what are the Rams going to do? Now what is McVay going to do? Now what is a defense that is young going to look like in prime time next week when they go to Seattle and they're playing against the 12? We're used to that environment. We played in that environment early in the year, right? Now I think we're a better matchup for that environment. They've done some things since the trade deadline. All right, bringing in Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, we saw what he did with the opening kickoff this past weekend, right? So the Rams – it's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited for this matchup. I'm excited to see how this pans out, how we look. How do we take what we learned from this game versus Chicago? Because our O-line really didn't play well, right? Our O-line really didn't play well. McVay didn't really call a good game. Receivers didn't really get involved, but it's hard in that type of game, in that snowy type of game. That's meant for a ground and pound type of game, right? We only ran the ball for 31 carries. We should have ran it for probably like 45, if I'm being honest. All right, especially against that defense that's kind of light up front. We should have just pound, but it didn't work out that way. So it'd be interesting to see now, what do we learn from this Bears game and how we got carried versus Seattle, right? We lost a heartbreaker versus them. We got some unfinished business versus Seattle, right? And can we make Sam Darnold revert back to the old Sam Darnold for one game? For one game. We're going to see how this pans out. Athletes Forum Podcast. Remember, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. But before we head out, you could arguably say that this has been like the most you could say this has probably been the greatest or best playoff run that we've seen in a while, right? That we've seen in a while. You think about Buffalo, Denver, what that came down to. Another overtime game, 33-30. Josh Allen really didn't play his best, couple turnovers, right? Bo Nix breaks his ankle, right, and throws a bomb the next play to get them in the position where they are now. Denver beats Buffalo, and now they're hosting the AFC Championship versus a team that is really back in the mix, a team that we weren't ready to see them have this success this early, going up against the New England Patriots and what they did against the Houston Texans, right? What is it? They sacked C.J. Stroud 3 times, forced 4 interceptions, and I think it was 2 fumbles or whatever. Now, New England got some stuff to clean up as well, too, before heading into Denver. But, right, look at look at how these playoffs are shaping out. Has New England really even been tested? You think about the Chargers, who were kind of non-compete, a team that really didn't compete in New England. You think about Houston, who had trouble competing, right? Houston's defense played well, right? And now what's New England going to get fixed going into Denver, because Denver's defense is going to play well, and they're going to get a former one of their own in Jarrett Stidham, who they drafted, right? And then not only that, and we just talked about this, but the Seattle Seahawks are playing better than anybody in the whole playoffs, right? Dominating performance versus San Fran. The line of this game was 7. They blew them out by, 37. No, 35, right? And listen, Sam Darnold didn't play lights out. This is kind of what gives me hope as a Rams fan. We could go there and kind of take care of some business when we get up there, right? But even the round before, I mean, this run of playoffs have been phenomenal, right? Have been phenomenal. And I'm excited to see how this all looks and what we got to get for a Super Bowl matchup, right? Another thing to point out is when you look at the quarterback draft class from 2 years ago, all right? Usually you get about 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Maybe one of them pans out. We had 4 almost made it to the conference championships, right? Bo Nix, pick number 13. Drake May, pick number 3. Caleb Williams, pick number 1, who almost made it, right? And then you got Jaden Davis for Washington, who was in the conference championship last year. You can arguably say this might be one of the best rookie draft classes we've seen in a while, especially from having success from early top draft picks, right? And them all coming into play, right? The NFL is in good hands when it comes to young good quarterbacks, and good quarterback play, right? Now, there's one thing for certain. There's only one thing that's going to be certain. One quarterback from that draft class is going to the Super Bowl versus a team from the NFC West. Those are only 2 things that are guaranteed, right? But like I said, Athletes Forum Podcast, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Rams, we escape with a win. Do I have any Rams fan here? Let me know.